Warning, motorsport is a dangerous activity. The events you're about to see were filmed in a controlled environment under the supervision of professionals. Do not attempt to recreate or reenact anything you see on this show.
Welcome back to Off-Road Addiction. I'm Caleb Thompson and this
is the human condom.
It is indeed. We call him Paul Hand sometimes. And we're here to play with our Polarises. Now we're in our back paddock at home and the challenge has been set. Who can do the fastest lap in two-wheel drive and who can do the fastest lap in four-wheel drive between the Polaris General and the RZR Turbo. So let's go find out.
And then we're going to find out who can do it fastest towing.
I don't have a trailer or a hitch. That might get interesting.
Or a sled. One man sled behind the Polarises and who's fastest.
It could be an interesting day. Let's get into
2
it.
hours before dark, let's do it.
Before we get stuck into the real competitive stuff, it's time to get in a few practice laps and get some mud on the tyres. This track is a hell of a lot of fun in these Polaris units, especially in the wet, where you just get sideways everywhere. It's the perfect stress relief. Getting a few laps in is perfect to get us and the engines warmed up when the real racing gets underway and the competition for bragging rights begins.
Oh, just checking that old radiator, I said, so she's pretty blocked. Ah, she's right.
Right, so we have had our warm-up laps and it's a lot tackier than we thought it was going to be. We've sort of scraped all the nice stuff off. Paul has changed his mind from going to be the fastest Houdini in the world. Now he reckons we're going to need an abacus to measure his time.
I said calendar.
Oh, calendar.
Calendar.
Same thing. Alright, so what, paper, scissors, rock for who's going first, second, third? Yeah? And what, loser goes first?
You're going first.
Most of the time, yeah.
Loser.
Alright, ready?
Right, yep. Join three of us.
Yeah. Paper, scissors, rock.
Oh. Snip, snip. Oh.
So who lost? Me?
Yeah.
So I go first?
Yeah.
And you go second?
And I'm last.
Oh, you do it again. Do it again.
True.
Yep.
That works.
Let's do that.
God, this is tricky games, these.
This is too technical. Right, so I'm up first. Basically just going to lay down the world record here. First fastest time around this track. Only one in the world to have the world record.
Considering this is his back paddock, and he's been doing this for the last, what, 3 weeks?
Yeah. This is my first day on the job, thank you. Because every other time it's just been for fun. No, this is a serious game. Serious business. Right, so it's my turn. I drew the short straw and I am up first, which may be good. It may not, we'll see. So we're up to temperature, we're ready to go. Chuck it in a high range, four-wheel drive, and we'll let her eat. Where's my flag bearer? I need a 3, 2, 1. I didn't see the light.
I feel like I kept it fairly tame around those first few corners, then started to step it up towards the end of the first lap and getting a bit sideways around that last corner. I think I was starting to get a bit too comfortable around that nasty rutted out corner, with wheels lifting on my second lap. However, I'm pretty happy with how those laps went and how the RZR Turbo handled. So let's hope they were good enough to keep me on top with the lap times.
Right, so my first lap I got a 35 second and my second lap got 31 seconds, so we'll see if that holds up. Unfortunately we lost the milliseconds, so if it comes down to it we're going to have a tiebreaker. We'll have to face off final round. Paul's just jumping in now, he's going to do his four-wheel drive run. Let's get into it.
Off-Road Addiction TV is brought to you by Maxxis New Zealand, Force 4, Polaris New Zealand, and REDARC Electronics. Next up is Paul to see if he can beat my lap times in the mighty General. And away he goes, off to a flying start until his door swings open. Come on Paul, sort it out mate. He's clearly having a blast getting sideways on some of those corners, and just like me, Paul's getting up on two wheels around that nasty roughed out corner, even more so than the RZR Turbo. At the end of his 2 laps, Paul was pretty stoked to be just 1 second behind me on the first lap. Looks like I need to step up my game for the 2-wheel drive laps. This certainly goes to show that having all the power in the world doesn't make a difference if you can't put it to the ground.
So I'm 1 second off. Hang on. So I'm 1 second off, even though I don't live here. I go to work. Your first lap. Well, pretty much what that means is penalty points of like 30 seconds for Caleb. So I beat him by a minute.
Unfortunately for Paul, there would be no penalties. The standing so far for the 4-wheel drive laps has me in first place with a 35-second time for lap 1 and a 31-second time for lap 2. Paul scored himself a 36-second time for lap 1, which was about 1 second behind me, and a 33-second time for lap 2.
Right, so I smashed out my first lot in 4-wheel drive with a 35 and a 31. Now we're doing it in 2-wheel drive, and the results are going to be interesting. Wish me luck. I'm going to need it. He's catching me somehow on my home track.
Well, things were definitely a lot more interesting in 2-wheel drive, especially now that the track was nice and sloppy and cut up. Things were starting to get pretty loose on the S-bend corner, sending me sideways off the track a few times. This track is some serious fun in 2-wheel drive, and I guess I hadn't done enough laps yet, so decided to start doing donuts mid-track. That just meant more speed was needed on the last couple of corners to get across the finish line quickly. At the end of my 2 laps, I had timed 39 seconds on my first lap and 46 seconds on my second lap. I guess that's what happens when the RZR starts doing donuts around corners. Let's see if Paul and Leigh can keep up.
Alright, well, it's my turn. It's my second lap ever. I'll see what I can do. I gotta wear my sunglasses because I'm actually blind and these are prescription and it's getting quite dark. So, two-wheel drive, lack of clearance, but whole heap of skill hopefully, so we can do it. Alright, ready, 3, 2, 1, go!
Paul did pretty well to keep to the track on his first lap, sending the mud flying. That wasn't until he got to the second to last corner where he spun out a couple of times trying to correct his oversteer. He looked like he was back on track with his second lap until he got to the start of the gnarly SBN corner, where he takes the corner a bit too sharp and almost flips the tree. Will these spinouts cost him dearly on his overall lap time?
Oh, direct line's the fastest line, so I was just pretty much sticking to tight lines and making sure I didn't run wide in any corners, and even redid a couple of corners because I had that much time on my hands, so just thought I'd go around, you know, make sure I'd nailed those lines, and I feel like I've done pretty well. My mum would be proud.
It's starting to get chilly, eh?
It is.
I'm proud.
Well, unfortunately for Paul, he hasn't managed to get ahead of me on time, despite his second lap being nearly 3 seconds faster due to a slight shortcut that he took. His total lap time being 1 minute 31 seconds against my time of 1 minute 25 seconds. Now it's time to see if Leigh can beat either of our times. Off-Road Addiction TV is brought to you by Factor 55, Motomuck, Big Brown Industries, and Trail Gear. Now it's Leigh's turn to jump in to compete in two-wheel drive. Being so light and nimble, he made it look easy going around all these slippery corners. But even he was getting bogged down in a couple of spots where the mud was just turning into a thick slop. By the time he got to his second lap, he was still zipping around those first few corners, but coming up to those last few bends, he was getting sideways, just like the Polaris units. As Leigh crossed the finish line, it was anyone's guess as to how well the quad stacked up with the General and the RZR Turbo.
So it's all said and done. We haven't seen the results of the two-wheel drive session yet.
There's no results.
So it's anybody's game. Might time for a bit of a play.
These are going to be in the contention.
Pretty good for two-wheel drive.
So did I though. I did pretty much the whole track twice. Even cut a new track inside the tree.
Did you?
You know what I'm saying? I almost tagged the tree in the arse end.
Oh no, I was in that corner. Minding my own
There's a
business.
nice, real good, straight, clean line around that tree. I was like, yeah, we good.
Right, might be time to go head into the shed. Go do some work on the tight squeeze Suzuki. Hope you enjoyed a bit of sliding around action as much as we've enjoyed playing with these Polarises. It's been good fun. So let's do it.
Astoundingly, Leigh has blown both our times out the water with his impressive time of 1 minute 11 seconds, a whole 14 seconds faster than me and a whopping 20 seconds faster than Paul. Clearly, a couple of practice laps were enough for Leigh to take out the win for the two-wheel drive laps. He even had the two fastest laps of 34 and 36 seconds, followed by me with the third fastest lap of 39 seconds. Coming up on the next episode, we're back in the United States for the 2018 SEMA show. This time, I was invited to be a judge for their new product showcase, so there will be plenty of new and exciting stuff to see.
Shut up, cow!
He's crop dusting right next to me.
Hey, Carl, you just got on TV? Hey, look, Carl's on camera in the background. Yeah, that's what I thought.
Dissing my mum. Does my beard look smooth over top?
Yeah, nah.
Beautiful, Paul.
It looks like half the length, but yep. There's a Factor 55 hat in here. Do you still want it to be in the same colour, or?